You said insight is the beginning of wisdom.
Yes.
But here you've said Sufis are intent on developing wisdom from the get go and wisdom of the worldly life. I'm not sure if you're using wisdom with two different meanings in those two
Well,
statements, or could you explain the difference between insight and wisdom or how they overlap?
a very, very, very good question, because the as the adage goes, compassion and wisdom are the two wings of liberation, and that word compassion gets tangled up because of translation, and I dealt with that somewhere else. Uh, it means something different in Tibetan and Sanskrit than it does in English. And then we get to the word wisdom, which is sometimes used interchangeably with insight, but they're not exactly the same thing. I would characterize insight as simply waking up. And this happens, and it can happen spontaneously. It can happen after a few weeks of practice, a few months of practice. And usually it's a couple of years of practice, and you wake up if you're sincere. Now, once you've woken up, you know that this world is virtual. You know that this world is made of, as strange as it sounds, because it does sound strange in English, it's made of love, light, beauty, truth, God, and extraordinary care. But you can't see that as clearly until you've woken up. And there's many other things that go along with waking up, like realizing you're never going to die, and realizing you weren't born, realizing your true nature, who you actually are, and then you have a lot less connection to this bag of bones that we call our body. So now wisdom, though, is has more, it faces more to the actual dream world that we live in, where we have to deal with other characters and other people of much lower and higher consciousness, and there are wars, and there are thieves, and there are earthquakes and lightning. There's all kinds of things that go on, and how does a grown man or woman deal with those things? And if someone has been fortunate enough to read through the Sufi corpus, they'll find, especially the one that was written in the 20th century by Idris Shah, they will gain enormous amounts of just practical wisdom, like how to save, how not to save, how to borrow, how to lend, how to marshal out your resources when you know there's an impending shortage, how to protect yourself against thieves, and the thousands of different little things like that. It's been compared to pulling a beard out with tweezers. That's how thorough they are. And so, to almost any thinking person, whether they're interested in this subject or not, I could recommend, at least 10 books by Idris Shah that present, 1,000 years or 1,500 years of potent Sufi teaching. And this is not just for the monks; it's for everybody. And so wisdom, I would say, has more the flavor of being able to work in this world with this world, right? So sometimes it is wise to not present yourself in public if you're trying to prevent a war. Sometimes it's necessary to present yourself in public, but you don't want to do that any more than necessary to win the war. And then you have clowns that just can't wait to get up in public and make fools of themselves with all their verbiage and all their missteps and all their, mistakes and their retractions and everything else. Well, those people just have less wisdom, because that doesn't help anybody. And so wisdom is a little bit less narrowly defined than insight. I mean, insight is designed a little bit more narrowly than wisdom. Insight refers to the insight that what you think is real is not real. What you think is solid is not solid. And that this world, being virtual, is more akin to a dream than something else that your brain may have fabricated, in the first, I don't know, 15 years of your life. And so you can get there through quantum mechanics, you can get there through philosophy, you can get there through meditation, you can get there through the fastest means to insight we know. And that's what I kind of recommend, because you can do it the hard way. And a lot of scientists do, not a lot of them, but some of them do, the good ones. And they spend a lifetime to get as far as a sincere, student with a little bit more humility could get in a year in terms of understanding emptiness, understanding the nature of our reality, understanding the dreamlike nature of the world and the sky-like nature of our mind.